Hi guys, it's Alicia Portia. Welcome back to my channel. So I'm doing a story time / how to spot a capper. Like throughout the story time, I'm gonna point out 5 ways on how to spot a con artist. Pretty much what happened was that I was working at a club and my boss / owner was a phony. He was a con artist and he scammed everybody in the club, and I was a huge victim. I feel like I was like the first person to really catch on to his little schemes. Okay, so it starts off with me in the club, and there was a guy there. We're gonna call him Bill. Bill was there, and my bartender was like, oh, you should go talk to that guy. He just did a couple buyouts last night. So, meaning like he's got money. So, I wanted to talk to him. And, we were just like bullshitting. He started showing me his social media, which is sign number 1, social media. He had way too much personal information on his social media. I feel like somebody that really had all this stuff that he was trying to portray that he had would not be putting it on social media. And that is a huge sign in a capper. Somebody that is a capper is going to put too much detail on their social media. Things that, like, if you was really doing in real life, you wouldn't put that on your story. You wouldn't put that as a post. You wouldn't be showing people these things. You would be doing it and, like, wanting people to get into your business. This man had like hella sports cars, hella mansions with a location saying, oh, this house is getting renovated. Oh, this car is the car I drove here tonight. That, just showing me stuff. And I'm just like, in that environment, I don't care what you have unless you're giving it to me. Which I think like most dancers can agree with me on that. But I guess, there's always that, there's always that like one in a few that might be like, oh my God. So on his Instagram, I remember seeing this one picture that really stood out to me. It was a bunch of car keys lined up with Louis Vuitton boxes all stacked up in an empty room. Like 20 car keys just laid out in front. But there was nothing on the walls, no furniture, no nothing, no light, really no nothing. So that kind of like stood out to me. Like, he leaves the club. He didn't really spend money on me. He was just like, I'm going to come back tomorrow, this, that. It was the weekend, so I was like, oh yeah, like I only work weekends. I'll be here. So he texted me as soon as he gets outside. He texted me a picture of him sitting on the car. I guess he got someone to take a picture for him that was on his Instagram that he said that he drove to the club. He texted me a picture. He's like, this is what I'm driving home in tonight. And I was just like, okay. Like, I heard from him the next night. He asked me what's at the club. And I actually wasn't going to go to work that night because I had done really well that Friday night. But I was like, you know what? Fuck it. It's Saturday. Why not? So I went and I saw him. So I went up to them and they was talking that the club was for sale. This is the second night this man is in this club. And he's asking this bartender, like, what are the details? Like, trying to get to, like, learn how the clubs work. This is on Baltimore Street, mind you. So, because he's trying to compare it to, like, Penthouse and Scores, which is, like, this is, like, a block club. They work differently. If you buy the club, like, you should make me, like, general manager or, like, a manager or, like, let me bartend. He was like, yeah, you can be a bartender. I was like, okay. So, he ends up buying the club. So like the owner of the club has been the owner for a long time. I guess his deal was, if you're gonna buy the club, you're gonna buy my house too. So I guess Bill bought the house and the club bought. So he shows me his account balance. He was stuck on this number, $11 million. That is another thing. Cappers are always stuck on that one number. I make this. It's always the same number. He was stuck on the number $11 million. So he shows me he pulls up his bank account, shows me $11 million. So that's kind of weird. Who shows a stranger their bank account? But I guess he was trying to get close to me. So I guess like I kind of understand it. But looking back, it's like that was real sketch. That's like clue number 2, how to spot a capper. They like to show ATM receipts that are not theirs. They like to show, transactions, stuff like that. Like their bank account balances, their transactions. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. There's people on Instagram that do that. That is not theirs. So, like I said, there was like a certain people that have been bartending there and dancing there for years that the old owner had. This new owner, Bill, fired everybody. He let some of the dancers stay, but like the bartenders had to, like most of them, the main ones was fired. So he was like, you want to be a bartender? Bartend tonight. I was like, okay. He was like, just go behind the bar, start bartending. And I'm like, okay. So I just start working for this guy. So as I'm working for him, we get closer, whatever, we hang out. I start to believe him that he is who he say he is. So this is like the third sign of a capper. Everything they do is strategically planned out. Every move they make, it's like chess. That's not in a good way. Nothing is ever a coincidence. So we start to like hang out, whatever. We start to make more plans, and I realized that like things just like are not adding up. He's strategically planning out his schedule so that nothing works out, so that our plans fall through. He was like, okay, let's go to like, show me where the upscale malls are around here. So I was like, okay. So when we planned to do that, he conveniently would be like, oh, so-and-so didn't show up for their shift. Do you think you could come in and work? Like, include me in the bailout plan. Instead of being like, oh, I can't, I'm actually busy today. He would make it so that like, it's like believable. Like, oh, I need you. Like, come into work. Okay, so like stuff like that was happening. And then he told me he was going to take me on his private jet to Florida and said I could bring my friend if I introduced them. So I bring my friend in the club and I introduced them, and he's like, okay, all three of us are going to Florida on a private jet, leaving on Friday. Just so happens on Friday hits and he ends up in the hospital. He has like MRSA, which was like really weird because it's like, it was just like really random and weird. He was really sick. He was like, come see me. I'm very sick in the hospital. I just had like a breaking fever last night, this, that. When you have MRSA, that isn't something that just happens. It's like a gradual thing. So it's like this man Ben had this and he like just decided to go to the hospital for it so that he didn't have to prove that he didn't have a private jet, I guess. Even though he had shown me multiple pictures of him on his private jet. So I go to the hospital, I see him. He's telling me basically, I really need you to hold things down at the club. I need you to be my eyes and ears. I need you to bring in worker or try to get girls to work for you on your shift. I need this, that. So I'm really like pulling weight at the club. I'm like basically bartending every single day, which is pretty cool because like when you're a bartender, it's $100 just to show up. Or he was paying me $100 just to show up. So as a bartender, I made very good money. I would say it's better than dancing because it's consistent. It's like, dancing you could hit for like $1,500, but that's not going to be every single night. As a bartender, I was bringing in like $800 like every single night. So that's why I liked it. It was just consistent. Okay, so he would talk shit about all the bartenders and all the girls that work there and be like, just wait till I get all these girls from Scores. They're going to come, or from Penthouse. They're going to come here and I'm firing everybody. I'm firing all the dancers. I'm firing all the bartenders. It's only going to be young, hot bartenders. I'll make you like the lead bartender. You can train all the girls, this, that. Like, whatever, because the bartenders we was having at the time was 2 older women and I was like the only young one. So, and the dancers was cool. Like I was cool with them. I didn't really have a problem with them, but I guess like he like wanted a different kind of dancers, I guess. So he kept, like I said, reassuring my bartender position. Okay, so he fired bartenders over me just because like if I got in a fight with one, he'd be like, they're fired, go fire them. I'm like, okay, like these are people's lives. Like, all right. So he was also telling other girls that he could do things for them. If they had a problem, if anybody had a problem, he had a hookup. He could fix it. He was a problem solver. He promised girls, he said he was in real estate. He promised girls properties. You know, some girls had CPS issues, and he promised them properties that was going to fix their issues and get their kids back. All that shit fell through. Like, he basically was just stringing them along because, one, we didn't have any dancers at the time, and two, he knew that they would be loyal and they would stick around if he just kept stringing them along. Okay, like, another example, I drove to Florida, and he told me if I drove to Florida, and he was like, I will get you a flight back, and, like, I will ship your car back, so you don't have to make the drive back. I just wanted a car while I was down there in Florida, and I wanted my car while I was down there in Florida. That never happened. If they sense that you're catching on, they use reverse psychology / manipulation to go their separate ways so that it's your idea. So I was starting to catch on to his bullshit. Like, I'm a real person. I feel like real recognizes real. If you're talking shit about people to me, that means you're talking shit to those people about me. Plain and simple. There's no way you're going to have me believe that you're talking shit about all the workers, all the bartenders we got, all the dancers. He was talking shit about how he was going to get rid of them all. I'm like his reliable, you know, worker. On days that I had off, he would call me in and be like, oh, Portia will come, like Portia will come in. There was days I was pulling doubles and he would just be like, you're pulling a double tomorrow, right? Oh, you're pulling, like, he would just assume, like, he was basically using me. Even though he was paying me. I feel like when he, like, knew that I was catching on, he would, like, call me into his office and he'd be FaceTiming, like, girls from scores, talking to him about bartending, like, trying to, like, send me a message, pretty much. Like, pretty much, I caught on quick. Contacting my friends, trying to meet up with them, like, outside of work. I thought he thought that would bother me, but it really didn't. It was just kind of like, you just broke plans with me to say the exact same thing you're gonna do with them. Bullshit. Yeah, he would do, like, scheduling errors, so this is how it ended. One day, I was, like, going to Uncle Julio's. It's, like, a really bomb Mexican restaurant. And he, like, called me in and, like, wanted me to come in and work. But he was sadly mistaken because I had been working doubles, like, all pretty much week. And it was Sunday, starting the next week. And I was like, I have not had one day off. I'm spending time with my people. And I just, like, texted him, like, I quit. I kept telling him, I remember, like, the whole time I was pulling doubles, I got really frustrated because I was pulling doubles. And I kept being like, I don't need this job. I don't need this job. I'm only doing this job because you need help. I don't need this job. There, at one point in time, also, he promised me he was going to wire me, like, 30 stacks or something like that. That never happened. It's like he kept telling me things to, like, keep me on his little string. So I quit and I told the bartender, the only one left, basically, she should quit because this guy's gonna fire her. I just spilled the beans. I told all the dancers that this guy gonna fire you guys once he gets his penthouse scores girls in here, and the bartender gonna be gone, and all y'all gonna get fired. And I left. They would text me, like, weeks later, like, oh my God, Portia, he's not paying us. All of, like, our pay, he's, like, holding our pay and, like, not paying us. And he owes me $200 tip that I got on a credit card. He's like, all the girls are getting paid. You're going to get your money. Just calm down. So what happened was I got a text, like, a couple months later, being like, the transaction to buy the club and the owner's house never went through. Even though when I told him that the club or the people on the block was saying how he never really bought it, he kept showing me the wire transaction. He was like, then what's this? And it'd be like a wire transaction for like $700,000. One of my real millionaire customers told me, you know, that could be a credit line. I couldn't have known what there was a chance I didn't know what I was looking at, which was probably exactly what it was. And pretty much that the transaction never went through and the owner kicked the guy out and put an arrest warrant on him. So if he hasn't been arrested yet, he's probably in jail because we all looked up his record. Okay. Sorry, I was reading a DM. We all looked up his record and he had like hella warrants out for his arrest because apparently he does this shit all over. You know, everybody dirt gonna catch up to them. So thank you guys for watching, and I'm still working on trying to redo my secret video. I just like keep getting sidetracked. I'm working on a Poshmark, trying to sell these clothes from Fashion Nova, so stay tuned. Every time I like start working on it, something comes up. It's just life. Subscribe, hit the like button, comment. Love you guys.